Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video, and today we're looking at the Type 38 Arisaka, which is one of the new scout rifles available with the new Turning Tides DLC. I'll be giving you a basic overview of its stats, my tips and tricks, and full review before telling you if I think it's actually any good. Now if you end up finding this video helpful or enjoyable, then it would be great if you could hit that like button for me. With that being said, let's get into this. So the Arisaka is a single action infantry scout rifle. Unlike the other scout weapon that was released in this DLC, the Carcano M91 carbine, it does actually have a one-shot sweet spot, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's go through the basics. The Arisaka has the same maximum and minimum damage numbers that you would expect for most scout rifles, those being 100 and 80 respectively. This is the same as the Gewehr 98, the SMLE, and a load of the other scout rifles. Besides that, it has the fastest rate of fire of any scout with a one-shot sweet spot in Battlefield 1, standing at 57 rounds per minute, which is 1 round faster than something like the Lebel or the Mosin-Nagant. It has 5 rounds available per strip reload, which I say is basically average for the scout class, a muzzle velocity of 770 meters per second, which is again fairly middle of the road when compared with the Arisaka's competitors, and finally it has standard recoil figures except for fairly poor recoil decrease after taking a shot, but it's nothing overly extreme. All in all, this makes it a reasonably average weapon for the scout class if you're just going by basic statistics, except for that rate of fire, which is a solid plus point. So now let's get to the aforementioned sweet spot, and this is where the difference is made that could push the Arisaka up the meta. It hits 100 damage at about 30 meters, which is the same as the Martini Henry and only bettered by the Viterli, which hits at about 20. This essentially means that the Arisaka can kill from close range and with a very fast fire rate. It beats the Martini Henry by, well, a stupid amount, obviously, and it beats the Viterli by 11 rounds per minute, plus that sweet spot stretches out to 62 meters. So it's beaten here by the Martini, but it's superior to the Viterli. The Martini does, however, have the advantage of having higher max damage overall, which makes it more lethal and forgiving when you actually hit the target with said damage, but to balance that, the Arisaka can then boast a superior minimum damage of 80 to the 70 of both the Viterli and the Martini. So now you know stat-wise how it compares to the other two prominent close-range sweet spot rifles. How can I sum it up for you? Well, the Arisaka basically falls into the middle of them for sweet spot and damage, with a far faster fire rate and muzzle velocity, plus a clip of 5 rounds available. This makes it probably the most forgiving and versatile of the three, and will likely become a lot of infantry scouts' go-to rifle. You have lethality at close range, plus the ability to hit people at longer ranges with greater ease, albeit doing less damage than long sweet spot range rifles such as the Gewehr 98. And personally, this is how I choose to use it, because the scope snipers primarily dominate at longer ranges and infantry ones are superior at close ranges for obvious reasons. So I used it with that in mind, but didn't shy away from attempting to pick people off in the distance when I saw fit, as you've seen in some of the clips I've shown. It's fun to use, and anyone decent with an infantry scout weapon should have no problem getting to grips with the Arisaka. Plus I personally think it just feels good to use. It's very satisfying to pick up kills with. I'm much more of a scope sniper these days, and yet I had a good time playing with the Arisaka for much of my footage collecting. So overall, I'd say that yes, the Type 38 Arisaka is a good weapon, perhaps verging on a great weapon for the right player. Pre-auto rotation nerf, this thing would have been a huge pain to play against, but now things are more balanced. It's simply a welcome addition to the game that requires a reasonably skilled hand without having too high a skill floor. But this is all just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. There's also a link towards the bottom of the description if you like what I do around here and would be interested in supporting the channel for $4.99 a month. However, I'll ask you guys if you would be more interested in me setting up a Patreon, like basically every other YouTuber, where you could pledge even just $1 a month or something. It's got to the point where it's basically a requirement for me financially, so please let me know if that sounds like a better idea than the YouTube set $4.99. And feel free to like, favorite, and subscribe. I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters.